check out this picture. I should remember what date it's April 17th. We have an anniversary then. We kind of got married twice. Once in India by a cloud. And that one didn't really count legally. So we got married again and up to the forest house. But that's the anniversary, we gotta remember that. Now I'd like this mix with you.
And the extinction rate is up to 10,000 times faster than what is considered normal, with up to 200 species becoming extinct every single day.
Yeah, just a couple more good lines I couldn't resist putting in, because I never heard that thing about extinction before. And the other one I wanted to talk about was where she mentioned the burning of the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, which shows that this is right now, this is very recent.
This summer, a chunk of ice the size of Lower Manhattan broke off a glacier in eastern Greenland. It contained 10 billion tons of ice, and the video of the event was a perfectly shareable piece of climate change dread. Except, a team of NASA scientists studying sea level rise has much more dreadful, much less visible news. Glaciers aren't just melting from above, they're melting from below. Over the past few years, Eric Rignot has been measuring glaciers in Greenland as part of a NASA expedition called Oceans Melting Greenland, or OMG.
We haven't seen that in a long time.
The mission's main objective is to study the biggest and most overlooked source of glacial melt: warm ocean currents hundreds of meters below the surface. So you're scanning the seafloor right now?
Yeah. We're measuring the glacier, all the way to the foot of the glacier. How many feet, basically, it is standing in the water. Right now, we are going under where the glacier used to be. You can see landmarks, along the side of the glacier, evidence of the loss of ice.
Unlike most bodies of water, the ocean surrounding Greenland actually gets warmer with increasing depth. That's because warm, salty currents from the Atlantic are heavier than fresh glacial water, so those currents end up on the bottom. And that is why NASA is mapping the ocean floor. As Greenland's deepest waters warm, the biggest glaciers melt at increasing speeds. And figuring out just how fast that's happening may help humans figure out just how much hurt we're in for. Did we always know that glaciers were melting from the bottom?
No, this is something we started thinking about maybe 10 years ago.
10 years ago?
Yeah.
Why did you think it took so long?
Probably because we saw so many changes in the glaciers, we really had to figure out what is missing here in our understanding. Prior to that, probably people never asked the question because there's no dramatic change in the glaciers that they could relate to.
Between 2002 and 2016, Greenland lost about 280 gigatons of ice a year. That amount of melted ice, which would be enough to fill more than 1 billion Olympic-sized swimming pools, caused global sea levels to rise measurably. And as the oceans warm, that's only going to increase. The glaciers that are really big and really deep are the ones that we should be worried about.
Yes. The water not only melts the glaciers from below, so it produces some calving, it forces the glaciers to retreat. It's like opening a dam. They are the major control on what's happening on the ice sheets. They control everything.
That might be the melt channel.
The OMG mission is trying to create the most comprehensive picture of Greenland's glacial coastline ever made. Eric does this from the ocean's surface by sailing into iceberg-crowded fjords to gather data on the hardest-to-reach glaciers. But there's another component of the mission that's gathering a much broader set of data from the sky. That's where Josh Willis comes in. He runs the OMG mission out of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena.
So this is our ocean survey, basically. This is all the places we just got back from. All the dots are places where we're measuring the temperature and salinity of the ocean. We fly this plane around, and we drop sensors out of the plane. They fall on a little parachute, and when they reach the ocean, they split into two parts, and a part stays at the surface, and the other part falls, and it falls all the way down to the seafloor, 1,000 meters. And as it goes, it's measuring the temperature and the saltiness of the water, and then that gets radioed back to the plane in real time. So that'll give us a really good picture of what's going on all the way around Greenland.
Why focus so much energy and money on Greenland?
Greenland has enough ice to raise sea levels by 25 feet if it all melted today. Now, we don't think that the ice is going to melt in 1 year, but the difference between 25 feet in 1,000 years and 25 feet in a couple hundred years is actually devastating as well. And that's really what we're trying to get at with OMG, because if the ice sheet is going to melt quickly, it will be because of this ocean-ice interaction, not because of the air warming. And if we're reshaping the coastline in a radical way, do you want to take out a 30-year mortgage on a house that might be flooded in 30 years? And so it's real, and it's time to start dealing with it.
Now, a couple is experiencing issues with this seasteading concept because they made a little house off the coast of Thailand. It was well within international waters, and the issue comes from them basically, hold on, there's this guy that doesn't want to let me come in. He's like being a jerk when I'm zippering in here. Let's see what happens here. Anyways, the Thailand government doesn't like them being so close, and they're saying that it poses a threat to some sort of democracy or some sort of peace treaty to Thailand. Either way, Thailand doesn't want them there, so they're saying it's punishable by life imprisonment or death. So the people that were in their little seasteaded thing jetted, and they're gone, and they're on the run from Thailand.
Yeah, I'm really not much of a blab if I use other people's footage all the time. But it's quite important to make a few notes, like we've been following those guys in Thailand for a few blogs now, and the fact they got turned out of that country is important. I mean, I think seasteading is important, but maybe it won't be.